Alright guys, today in Algebra we're going to be talking about correlation. Now it says determine whether each graph shows a positive correlation, negative correlation, or no correlation. If there is a positive or negative correlation, describe its meaning in a situation. So what they mean by correlation is, are the data points on our scatter plot kind of moving in the same direction? So like what I want you to think about is, if they call you to the gym for an assembly during seminar, all of the student body moves in the general direction of the gym. We don't get in a single file line and walk down the hallway in the exact same path, but we all flood the hallways and walk in the general direction as one another. So that's kind of like what correlation is. So on number 1 here, it says we're looking at calories burned during exercise, and we're comparing time in minutes to the number of calories burned. So they want to know, does this have a correlation? So if you look at these points here, they're all kind of moving in the same general direction. Now they're not in a single file line. I couldn't draw a straight line through all of them, but I could draw a line that would identify the general path of these points. Now, when that happens, that means there is correlation that's happening here. I just have to determine if it's positive or negative. Now, positive means it's going up, negative means it's going down. So here on number 1, this shows that we have a positive correlation between our points. Now, if there is a positive correlation, I have to describe its meaning in the situation. And to do this, we're going to look at all 3 of these titles, and we're going to kind of form a pattern of how we're going to do this. We're always going to start with the x-axis. Now, the title on my x-axis is time in minutes. So I want to start with as time in minutes, and we're always going to say as this increases. So I'm going to start by saying as time in minutes increases. Then I'm going to combine these 2 titles here to make a third, more descriptive title. And I'm going to say the number of calories burned during exercise also increases. Now here's the sentence as it comes up. You can feel free to pause the video whenever you need during this video to make sure that you have time to write this down. But again, as time in minutes increases, the number of calories burned during exercise also increases, because we have a positive correlation here and it's going up. Now if we look at number 2, we're talking about library fines, and it shows that the number of books borrowed, and we're comparing it to how many fines they have in dollars. Now if you look here, I have dots all over the place. They don't really show a general pattern. They're not really all going up together. They're not really all going down together. That means this graph here has no correlation. That means that the number of books borrowed doesn't necessarily mean that doesn't necessarily affect how many fines you have in dollars. On number 3, we want to compare weightlifting, so the number of the amount of weights that you lift in pounds, to the number of repetitions that we're doing. Now if you'll notice, they're all kind of following the same general direction. They're all going the same general direction, and they're all kind of headed down. So that means we have a negative correlation, because they're all following the same path and it's going down from left to right. Now to describe it again, I want to start with the x-axis. So we're going to start by saying as the weight in pounds increases, so we always start with as the x-axis increases. Then I want to combine these 2. The number of repetitions while weightlifting, now take note, since this is negative, is going to decrease. So again, we'll have as the weight in pounds increases, the number of repetitions while weightlifting is decreasing. So check here, if I had 100 pounds while weightlifting, my number of repetitions here is only 3. But if I go up to 120, you can see that there's 2 or 1 repetition. So as I'm increasing the weight that I'm lifting, I'm decreasing the number of repetitions that I'm doing. On number 4, we're comparing the car dealership revenue, so their revenue in hundreds of thousands of dollars, to the year. So they're all kind of following the same general direction, and they're going up. Now they're not going up as quickly as it did in number 1, but it's still going up, so that would still be a positive correlation. And we can say that as the years increase, the revenue at a car dealership is also increasing. So as time in years increases, the revenue at a car dealership also increases. Now again, here's what this means. Like if I were to choose in the year 2000, they had revenue of about $37,000. 30 wow, and hundreds of thousands of dollars, $370,000. Now if I go up to 2004, they have about $600,000. So it's increasing as the years pass, and that's what shows it's a positive correlation. So while working on this homework, just make sure you remember the pattern. You start with the x-axis. As the x-axis increases, and then make a very descriptive y-axis title mixture, and it's either increasing or decreasing. Alright, that wraps up this section. If you have any questions, please let me know.